Hey Blades fans, hope you had a nice Christmas break and welcome back to Hertz Arena for the December 28th clash against the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Will Henschel alongside Jake Maurice. And Jake, I hope Santa Claus treated you right. It was a nice, relaxing Christmas break, but the Everblades looking to take 2 home games against the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, part of a 3-game series against the Swamp Rabbits. But Jake, we got to take a quick step back. 4 away games scheduled last week. Only played 2 of them. A bit of a bumpy road.
Yeah, bumpy literally with some of the ice conditions that the Blades did not play on up in Orlando and in South Carolina. And it's unfortunate because it's a weird momentum killer. Yeah, it's not quite as bad as a loss, obviously, but the games get rescheduled now. March is a much heavier schedule, and that's a time of the year where a heavy schedule can be tough to manage, especially with where the Blades are in the South Division standings. And of course, you just want to play the games when you're ready to play them, right? You've done the prep, you've watched all the video, you've practiced getting ready for this opponent, and then you just, in the case of Orlando, you never even step on the ice, and in the case of South Carolina, you get about 7 minutes into what was looking to be a really good hockey game, and then you don't play the rest of it. So it's just unfortunate. I mean, the other 2 teams, they did try their best, especially Orlando, to give us quality ice that we could play on, but player safety is the most important thing. It was not worth having 5 guys go on the IR because you're trying to get a game done on unsafe ice. So it's an unfortunate situation, but it's just the one Florida has to live with, where a road trip got cut in half unexpectedly.
And in that road trip, of the 2 games that the Everblades did actually start and then complete, a 1-1 record, a loss against Jacksonville, a win against Savannah, 2 games that could have gone either way if it weren't for a couple of bounces here and there.
Yeah, the Jacksonville one was a special teams win for the Icemen. 3 power play goals and a shorty. Blades winning the game 2-0 at even strength, but sometimes special teams are going to get you, and Jacksonville's certainly got Florida last Wednesday, and then on Friday it was sort of a little bit of the reverse. Florida perfect on the PK and got a couple power play goals for themselves to get a 4-2 win against Savannah, but it was tight in the 3rd period. Florida was hanging on and then eventually buried an empty netter to get the win, and that's just the nature of the South Division. There's very rarely games that are over pretty much any time before the final buzzer. Everyone's fighting all the way to the end. The point's so important. In Florida, they were able to get 2 important points in Savannah. Technically went into the Christmas break with a win after not playing against the Stingrays last Saturday. So Florida trying to, after having their momentum stalled a little bit by that cancellation, or rather postponement last Saturday, keep it going here against Greenville.
Now Greenville, despite being 5-5 in their last 10 games, is still the top dog in the South Division. An unbelievable season they've had so far, but only 1-3 in their past 4 games. So certainly a team that has shown flashes of unbelievable hockey, but sort of on a downward trend right now. They did finish off last week with a win against Savannah, but 3 losses in that time span too. Could see them kind of limping.
Yeah, slumping, but not in free fall, I would say. And they're very aware of a team like the Atlanta Gladiators or the Trois Rivières Lions. That's earlier this season, they were at the top of their respective divisions, and they've cratered. In Trois Rivières' case, they're still hanging around, but Atlanta's gone all the way to the bottom of the South Division, and they were actually the team that lost to Greenville in Greenville's last game. It was a 5-2 win for the Swamp Rabbits. So Greenville knows they don't want to be like Atlanta. They want to stay at the top of the division, but at the very least remain well entrenched in playoff contention. It's a team that's made the postseason each of their last 2 years. They're going to be looking to get this slump over with quickly, get back to their winning ways. They got 1 against Atlanta, but they're going to need to stack some together, and they're going to look at a Florida team that they've already beaten twice this year as a chance to do that.
Yeah, in those first 2 games, we played this team, or the Everblades played Greenville back in November. 3 games in South Carolina, but now 2 games at Hertz Arena, Saturday off, and then a Sunday game in Greenville. So a 3-game series total against this team. And it's going to be a big fight for the Everblades. Great to have 2 of those games at home, but Greenville's going to bring a challenge every night.
Yeah, and I mean, last year, Greenville won the lone meeting between these clubs at Hertz Arena. Greenville's tough defensively. It's hard to break through their neutral zone. They're not very friendly with the Everblades, stemming back to the 2021 season and then the year after, where Florida beat Greenville in the first round of the Kelly Cup playoffs en route to that Kelly Cup championship win. And these are 2 teams that have the same aspirations this year, winning the Kelly Cup, and Greenville knows that if they want to get through and get to the Kelly Cup finals, they're going to have to go through the Florida Everblades. And The best way to do that is to beat them in the regular season a few times. Right now, the best way to do that is you beat them a few times in the regular season. You give yourself the confidence going into a potential playoff matchup.
And Jake, the story of the ECHL, guys going up, guys moving down. So a couple of roster adjustments for the Blades going into this weekend against the Swamp Rabbits.
Yeah, first off, Aiden Sutter traded to the Wheeling Nailers. He was kind of the odd man out on the back end, particularly with defenseman Evan Noss coming down from the Charlotte Checkers. And he's a guy kind of in a similar situation as Zach Ewens last season. Charlotte has a ton of defenders. There isn't really space to give a bunch of guys consistent minutes, so it's better for a guy like Evan Noss in his first professional season. Come down to Florida, be in the lineup every night, get a little bit of time on special teams and improve your game there. On the flip side of things with Charlotte, Wilmer Skoog and Mark Senden both go up to the American Hockey League. They've been steady contributors for Florida all season long, because while it is always nice to see guys go up to the American League, right? It's always good to see the Everblades development working to get guys up to the next level. For this year in the short term, it certainly hurts losing those guys from your lineup. So Florida is going to have some different guys step up, try different line combinations, and get ready to live without those two guys, at least for a little while.
We've got an exciting matchup tonight teed up against the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. But Jake, I think it's time we get into the Griffith Group of Downing Fry Realty. 3 keys to the game.
Well, the first key to the game, Will, is going to be playing a full 60 minutes, and I mean that literally.
That would be nice.
I mean that literally. I mean, we got our ice crew, guys like PJ got to make sure the ice is ready to go for these teams so that we can get this game through the books and we don't have to reschedule another one in March.
Is it fair to say best ice in the South Division?
I think we might have to make a claim for that. We might stake a claim for that. Greenville, they might argue with us from Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville. Second key to the game is going to be special teams. Special teams were the story of the loss for Florida last Wednesday against Jacksonville, and they were a big storyline in their win on Friday against Savannah a couple nights later. So you can always expect special teams to be important, especially with how tight games defensively are against the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. And third, you want to see a fast start with the way the momentum for Florida was disrupted after their win against Savannah with the postponement from South Carolina. It would be great to see the Everblades get off to a strong start and get right back to the way they were playing last Friday when they got their last win.
The top dogs in the South in Hertz Arena for 2 games of a 3-game series against the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Puck drop at 7:30. We'll see you there.